Welcome to the Pirate Broadcast, where we interview interesting people doing interesting things, where you can expand your connections, your community. Kindness is cool and smiles are free. And let's get this party started. And it's a beautiful day for a Pirate Broadcast, and we're here. And we were starting the show, and I figured, well, I better push the button and start streaming this thing out. So, and for those that are new or just joining us, thank you so much for being here. All the gratitude in the world. Thank you so much. And also know that we are streaming live on LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and also Twitch. So
nice.
A little bit here and there. So if you can't catch us here, catch us there. Bob, good morning. We're having coffee with Bob, and we're going to turn it around because he's used to interviewing other people. So,
yep.
So good morning, Bob. How you doing?
Morning, Russ. Thank you so much for having me on. I really do appreciate it. I've been a fan of your show for some time, and I aspire to be you. I'll put it that way. Rachel Beck turned me on to you a while ago, and
Rachel's awesome.
Yeah, I haven't looked back since.
Oh, fantastic. Well, Rachel, thank you so much for the introduction. Bob and I are going to get along swimmingly. We were talking about NT back in the day of early IT services. So
yeah, which probably a lot of your listeners, especially on in the Twitter arena and YouTube and maybe Facebook arena, are going to say, "And what?
What are they talking about? Hello? What?" So what we want to do is we want to kind of allow people that may not know you out in these other platforms to kind of get a framework on Coffee with Bob and the idea and what we were talking about before we started the show. So give us a framework. Who are you and why are you here? Why are you a pirate, man?
Yeah, that's the one of the biggest questions I get all the time, even on my own show. Well, like you mentioned, my name, and it says up here, my name is Robert Seeger. People call me Bob, and I'm a Chief Information Officer, VP of Technology. I've been in senior management now for the past, good God, 30 years or so.
Yeah.
And I've been on LinkedIn since the beginning. I'm a big LinkedIn fan. I maxed out on my connections. My followers just continue to grow, which is wonderful. I love my followers. And I just felt like about a year ago, I felt like it was time to give back. Right. Yeah. And it's what's the point of having all these connections and all these followers if you can't do something good, right? If you can't give back to the community that helped you grow, right? I learned a lot from LinkedIn, right?
Yeah.
One of the reasons why I love your broadcast, Russ, is that I learn so much all the time, always something new each time, and that's the beauty of the internet, right? Now in these different social platforms. So I just feel like it just feels good to share that knowledge with others and introduce people with others. So it's funny. If you go back and look at my posts in my broadcast, I run the gamut, right? Yeah. We're introducing new products. We're introducing, consultants with new services. I've done interviews for individuals that are looking for employment, right? What better way to get them exposure than to interview them online, right? So that it's out there for everybody to see. I'm going to be posting later today a business psychic, and we talked about that earlier. So it runs the full gamut. And what's fun about it is I'm helping others get the exposure they need to get whatever it is they want to get going. And I'm learning along the way, and it's kind of entertaining.
And it's the thing that you mentioned, and I want to dive into this a little deeper, is because we have been around long enough, to see LinkedIn grow and mature. I've been on since I think 2005. I started developing websites in 2007. I've been in technology, email marketing, media, advertising, outdoor. I fell 3 stories off a billboard to get into advertising. That's what I tell people. So it's like, it disrupted my drumming career, but I got into advertising, so I'm okay. And I've done some amazing things and met some amazing people through being this platform called LinkedIn and giving back, because what I've discovered along the way, Robert, and you probably have too, is the more you give away, the more it returns.
Yep.
In more unique, unusual ways that you never imagined. If you're just open to the idea that something good will happen, something typically happens that's good.
Yeah, I believe that wholeheartedly. I really do. And Jeff Young just posted, Robert has been on LinkedIn forever. His member number is, I was in the first 2 million people on board. I didn't even, how do you find that out even?
Yeah. How do you find that out, Jeff? I want to know. Yeah. And just a shout out to a couple of people, Russ Hedge is another individual that believes in kindness. So amazing, wonderful individuals. Jeff Young, thank you for the email, the message yesterday. Back at you. Love you, man. Nick Gimmel is doing some great things up in Canada with the oil and gas industry, making sure that people stay healthy. And Deneen, hello, everyone. She's here today. Great to start my day with the Pirate Broadcast. You're up early too, Russ. Angie over in Wisconsin. Good morning, Pirates. Love you, Angie. Thank you so much for being here. And Michael Baker in from Florida. Good morning, everyone. Is all. And so, Jeff, here's the message. Robert's been on LinkedIn forever. His member number is 1,547,728. Wow. I can't believe it. We're covering it. LT. Good morning. Jenny Gold. Jenny's going to be starting up a podcast here. I was talking to her about that. All the variety that we just have in the room right now, Bob, is
amazing.
I'd love to have coffee with each and every one of them.
Yeah. Awesome. And that's one of the things I like about your broadcast, Russ, is that you run the gamut as well too. I mean, there's so much variety. There's so much authenticity. I mean, it's just amazing. And you giving back like you do, like I said this earlier before the broadcast, is an inspiration for me. And I don't just say those things lightly. I really don't. I look to others on the platform to say, this is what I want to aspire to, like a Corey Warfield.
Yeah.
Corey's a very good friend of mine, basically because we live in the same area. So we have
He's a pirate too.
We still have to, we actually can still meet face to face. We just got together last week.
Nice.
So that's still cool. Why we can mask, of course, and all that good stuff. And just the things that he does inspires me to try and to be better. I mean, I'm looking at your little frame that you have built around us right now, and I'm thinking, okay, I got to do something like that too. So it's always knowing all these people, talking to all these people, helping them gain the exposure they need, right?
Yeah.
Also gives me the inspiration to level things up even more.
Well, I think it's really interesting too, because being in IT and technology in general, some people get the sense that, hey, so much more than most people. However, it really is about who you know that can help you do the job, because there's so much technology moving so quickly that it's really difficult to stay on top of everything. And just a couple of conversations, like the framework or, stuff that Corey's doing, things that inspire you are so much more accessible nowadays, and you could just notice, and at the same time, information can sometimes get overwhelming.
Oh yeah, absolutely, it can. Before I got into technology, actually my degree is in English and literature.
Okay.
And it was always my dream to be the next great American novelist, right? My wife and I got married right out of college. We had our first child. It was a honeymoon baby. And then 4 years later had our second, and then 12 months later had our third. So when you start, and we were young, I mean, we got married right out of college. Starting artists don't make it. So I got into sales, because what do you do with an English literature degree? I knew I wasn't going to teach. I don't have the my wife's a teacher. I don't know how she doesn't kill kids half the time.
Yeah.
So I got into sales, and sales got me into an introduction with someone who was starting to build his own ERP platform for the small, mid-sized business market.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you, ERP is Enterprise Resource Planning. It's basically the software backbone for an organization.
Yeah.
So through a mutual friend, we got introduced, we hooked up, and we started a company together for this ERP program. And we ended up selling it eventually. But so I helped him with the business process. He did the coding and taught me the coding along the way. And there was an IT career built from that point on. I mean, that was back in the day when you got online through a local ISP. You actually had to dial in and get all those beep, beep, boop, boop, boops. And AOL was the big thing, right? There was no Facebook. There wasn't even Amazon yet when we started. Right. So I kind of learned it from the ground up and then eventually merged into my leadership roles that I have today. And one thing, I had a mentor. I worked for a company called Boise Office Products.
I remember Boise Office Products.
Yeah, now it's owned by Office Max.
Yep.
And now which Office Depot bought, and now Staples will be buying soon. But I had a great mentor, Gary Massell. He's passed away now long ago, but he was my mentor. I was his director of e-commerce of all things back then. Wow. And he was the CIO. And one of the things he always said to me, and he had no technology background whatsoever. He was a nuclear physicist. He was hired as, which shows you, good leadership centers not around the background or educational wise that you have, or maybe not even around the technical skills you have. It's all about the people skills, right? And the one thing he always told me, and I've lived by this ever since, is surround yourself with people that are smarter than you.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Because those are the guys that are going to fill the gaps for you. Right. And your ability to bring a team like that together that fills those gaps, that makes the organization overall structurally sound, is what's going to be a winning combination for you. And that's worked for me. I've got members of my teams today that have come with me as I've moved through my career. Because I bring them on, and so much so where some people that I didn't bring on are sending me messages saying, do you need this or do you need that? I mean, I think that's critically important, right?
Absolutely.
It's, and I'm sorry, I'm rambling.
Well, no, I mean, these are all great points, and I'm kind of smiling because I'm exactly the same way. I still have conversations with the salespeople that sold me the first Cisco router, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And, it's the people that I still connect with and collaborate with. And over the years, we do projects together. We go on our separate ways and do things. And then we come back and say, hey, Russ, can you do this? Or Bill, can you do this? And it's really amazing to me that building a relationship goes much beyond, social media and platforms. Mm-hmm. And also businesses as well, is because you have people that they may not have the best skill at the time. However, they have the best attitude to teach the skill and train the skill and share the skill that you have in your environment. And that goes miles. If you could find somebody that fits into the culture and fits into the environment and can work with the teams and motivate everybody, inspire them, and keep them moving forward in a direction that's a positive one. Mm-hmm. That's gold.
No, it is gold. I mean, skills can be taught, right? Attitudes cannot, right? Attitudes are something that you get cultivated as a child. They're cultivated by the people that are around you. It's the belief system that you build up inside of you. Now, you may be able to change those belief systems a little bit, right? You may be able to change those attitudes a little bit, but you'll never be able to change that core. I could teach anybody any skill we want. I got a great guy that on my team now that's in charge of my network, right, and infrastructure. Never worked in Azure. We're moving everything into the cloud. So Microsoft Azure is the cloud source, right? Yeah.
I got a guy that I'll introduce you to.
Okay, cool. Well, but Drew never worked in it. But you know what? I had faith. I told him, I said,
you'll learn it.
I know you can learn this.
Yeah.
And sure enough, 30 days later, he is an Azure expert now. And we've migrated about 90% of our infrastructure to the cloud now. Last 10% are our proprietary applications. And I have no doubt that he's going to be able to do that as well too. So, I think that goes to show you that if you have confidence in people, right? If you believe in them and they believe in themselves, you can pretty much achieve anything. these days. I mean, it's amazing what's out there.
There's no lack of knowledge. There's no lack of information. There's just lack of attention to be able to place and put it in there, you know, and find the opportunity that really, you know, the rule of thumb that I always use, Bob, is the idea that if you can find something that you do where you lose track of time, it's probably a good indication that you might want to enjoy that for a little while.
Yep.
And get involved. You know, coding is a lot that way. There's people that'll code and it's like poetry. It's like writing,
sure.
You know, and, you know, blog posts, people writing books and,
mm-hmm.
you know, or doing video or interviewing other people. I always find it fascinating. You know, you speak of Boise office products. I used to sell office supplies years ago and part-time when I was a musician. And it always fascinated me to go to these industries, this industrial district, and look at what do they do in there. So I'd walk in there and like, what do you manufacture? What do you supply? What do you deliver? What do you distribute? You know, what is it that you do? And it was always fascinating to me what people do and how they act. So having this conversation with you and reminiscing about technology and doing these things, it's really important for us to understand that sometimes where we start isn't where we end up. And it's typically that way. So what's the left turn in your journey? Have you ever taken some left turns that didn't end up exactly the way you imagined, that may have given you what we call experience now?
Yeah, I've well, again, because my background isn't necessarily technology, right? My formal education, I've had few left turns when you're learning things along the way. But I have to admit that I haven't been technically challenged yet. Mm-hmm. Meaning because I always have the right, you know, I've always been able to build, I've been very blessed with building the right teams to help support what's going on. What's really challenged me is the culture. And I'll give you an example without naming any names. Years ago, I worked for this organization where the culture was just toxic. And people had warned me, you don't want to go there. Don't take this position. It's not, you know, they recruited me. Don't take this position. You don't want to be there. And I had the audacity to think that I could actually change it, right? Yeah. And so I went in saying, I can do this. And I made some headway. I really did. But when the ultimate leader at the top doesn't want to change, right? It's very difficult to change the culture overall. And I finally had to leave the position because I couldn't. It was impacting me personally, mentally, emotionally, down to the physical side of the equation where I just couldn't take the toxicity anymore. Yeah. So that was definitely a left turn for me. And
a lot of times we don't realize it until after we left.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
How bad it actually was.
Absolutely. That's what happened to me. I mean, I finally, you know, it was impacting my personal life. It was impacting my professional life, and it was having impacts on my health. Yeah. I'm going to share something with you that I haven't shared. I don't really share with anybody, but I have MS, right? Mm-hmm. And it's relapsing, remitting, so I handle it pretty well. Most people can't tell that I have it. I'm very blessed. I'm not in a wheelchair. I don't have braces or anything like that. I take a medication that helps keep everything at bay. But during that period that I was at this organization, I developed 2 more lesions on my brain just in the time period that I was there. And that kind of was my wake up call. Yeah. For that, to understand that, you know, if you surround yourself in a positive atmosphere, if you work within a positive atmosphere and you keep that emotional level in a positive state, right, where you're experiencing gratitude, where you're thankful, where you're sharing, you're trying to be as worry-free as possible for you and your team members, it's helped me out physically too, as well as emotionally.
Well, that's a lesson to learn, and for everyone here, you know, plant yourself in a garden that is nurturing and will see you thrive. Yeah. And I wish you all the best in your journey to, you know, stay healthy and stay positive.
Thank you.
And it's really about, we have to wake up every day, and I wake up every day and have gratitude, because so many things can go wrong, and it doesn't really, you don't have control over everything around you. So the things that you do in your day, in your life, if you can have gratitude, meet interesting people doing interesting things, have great conversations, see a new perspective, learn about why somebody sees the world the way they see it, and broaden your horizons, broaden your viewpoint and your perspective. I think it's all healthy practices, and that's why I do the Pirate Broadcast, is to open up the dialogue and open up the conversation.
Yeah. And that's exactly why I do the Coffee with Bob too, is to open up the dialogue and open up the conversation and see what else is out there. I mean, I think the days of command and control are waning, are almost not quite over yet, because there are still organizations that use that command and control model.
Sure.
But they're pretty much over, because I think most organizations realize that you can't do that anymore. And especially as the younger generation is coming up now, they're seeing that more and more. I hate to use this term, but we're starting to get a little woke in the corporate world these days, in the business world. And the reason I hate to use that term, I think it's taking it the wrong way. It's a little too far to the extreme now. I think we as a society, and we in business, within organizations, have to learn how to get to that more middle road, right? So that, at least that's what I strive to do with my teams.
Yeah. Well, it always seems to me that when you place people in a role that they appreciate and they thrive in, and then challenge them to improve their skills and their ability, it also enhances their attitude as well. They feel like, everybody feels like a contributor to the cause and the effort. Yeah. And I think that's where a lot of leadership fails, is in the ability to communicate a clear vision to everyone across the board. And when that takes place, it's magic when you can actually do it, and do it well, and say, hey, this is where we're going. Let's make sure that we're all working together to get there. And this is the bigger reason why. This is the cause, and the collaboration that needs to take place in order to get there. Yeah. And if everybody's clear on what the mission of the organization is, it just makes it so much easier to know how you fit into the cog.
Yeah. Well, and it's not only about having a clear mission, it's also believing in that mission, right? So true. Your team members. So one of the things that we do as an organization, we take each individual. So we have an overall mission for the organization itself. And then each team has a mission that sort of feeds into the overall mission. And when we develop those mission statements, we do it as a team, right? Everybody has a hand in adding to what the mission statement is, right? And what our beliefs are, because I want them to have that responsibility. I want them to have that ownership in it, right?
Absolutely.
Because when you put skin in the game, so to speak, right? You believe in it, and you're really gonna strive to make sure that is successful and happens.
Absolutely. Is there something that a theme that you use in Coffee with Bob that you like to ask your guests and like to get out of each and every guest?
So yeah, it's I try to make it very organic, right? Where I schedule 30 minutes, even though we know that LinkedIn embedded video can only be 10 minutes long. I have a timer that's set for 9:55 to accommodate my bumper at the beginning. But we sit and we talk a little bit, and I always tell the people that I'm interviewing, I say, okay, this is about you, not about me. It's about you and what you want to accomplish. So the way we go about is I'm going to give you a quick introduction, say a few words, and then I'm going to give it to you, and I want you to give your elevator pitch, your best elevator pitch. Now, some people, I have to explain to them what an elevator pitch is, which is fine. I mean, I think that's probably an older term these days than anything else. and for the younger viewers that are watching that we don't know what an elevator pitch is, basically you talk about yourself, who you are, what you do, and the time it takes to get from one floor to the next floor, which is what, Russ, 20 seconds, I think they said in the day. Yeah. Which we give them a little more time. And then we riff back and forth based on that. But I always make sure that when I'm talking to the people, that it's about them. It's about their purpose, their product, their service, whatever it is that they want to do. I wanted the focus to be on them. And it's actually been pretty successful. I generally get anywhere from, a couple hundred to several hundred views on the videos that I post, which I know those are all vanity metrics.
Yeah.
And I don't care, because it's all about getting those people exposure. So vanity metrics, we love them.
Yeah.
It's like,
and it's also
right.
Yeah, like we were talking before the show, is that it really makes it easy to access individuals that want to have a conversation. Nobody's up on their guard saying, "Oh, Bob wants to sell me something today."
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and then that's just people have said, we talked about this at the beginning. Yeah. Why do you do this? What are you getting out of this? Makes me feel good. That's what I'm getting out of it. It makes me feel good, and I'm not selling advertising. I'm not looking, I don't charge people to come on Coffee with Bob. It's all to help out others.
Yeah, it's give back to the community.
Yep.
It's all good. I want to give a shout out to a few more people here in the room. Tracy's here. Tracy's my producer. She assists me every day with the show. She takes it. By the end of the day, Bob, it's a podcast. It's a transcription. It's a blog post. It's a live stream. So you have words, images, audio, and video. So you're touching out all the main points of online access. So
yeah, I need a producer.
Kenyatta is here. Good morning to the Pirate Podcast. Kenyatta is awesome. Individual here. And Jeff Young points out, here's how, Russ and Robert. Kudos to Sulem, PMP. Go to post Sulem. And then that's a post telling us how what your member number is.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So I'll have to go check that out. Thanks, Jeff, for sharing that for everyone. The Michael Bay, I have my morning coffee every morning listening to the show. Well, thank you. I really appreciate it, Michael. And then Kenyatta says, yes, good to see you. Russ Johns and Robert Tigert. Angie says, good morning, Tracy. So Angie says, thank goodness where we start isn't where we end up.
Very true.
So very true. Wisdom. Working in a toxic environment is the worst.
Yep.
I have to agree with you. Hyde Ives in from Texas. Good morning, Pirates. I want to wrap it up before we take off here, Bob, to let people know that you're maxed out in LinkedIn because G. You've been there for a while. You're one of the originals. I believe that there's a lot of things in technology that are evolving, moving forward. You got Clubhouse. You got different platforms that are moving in place and position. Facebook's getting big, and they're taking a lot of heat on a lot of things. Mm-hmm. Where do you see technology? Where do you see relationships going? Because I don't think I need 10 million people in my network. I just need the people that want to be in my network and want to build business and build relationships with that. Yeah. And it's based on relationships. So how do you look and see about value and volume and
so for me, I think no matter what platform, and I know Clubhouse, and I'm starting a room on Clubhouse soon too, we're going to see all these different social platforms pop up, especially now, in the middle of a pandemic here, and people are getting very used to the virtual platforms, which I think is a good thing, but I also think it's a bad thing. We're missing out on that human sort of interaction connection, right? Yeah. Reach out and touch someone kind of thing, which I think is unfortunate. I'm hoping we get back to that someday because I still think that's important. But I think what's going to be critically important moving forward, and I think what the younger generation is going to start looking for, because they're getting so used to doing everything virtually, learning virtually. You want to learn about coding, they're going to YouTube it, right? If they want to learn how to build a website, they're going to YouTube it. If they want to learn how to fix a car or a water softener or a heater, they're going to YouTube it, right? They're all getting their education online. but they're also looking for things that are always going to provide value. So I think as people like us, like you and I and others out there, if they want to make that connection with someone, you always have to be providing some type of value to them. You know, be of service. I consider myself a servant leader, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was Michael Baker said, by your faith, all things are made possible for you. He is absolutely right.
Yeah.
If you model that type of servant leadership where you're taking care of others, putting others before you, whether it's virtually or whether it's in the physical world, I think you'll be successful. And for me, that's the most important.
Fantastic. Bob, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for being here. I think we could talk for a few more hours and not run out of topics to share with the audience.
I agree.
I really see a lot of parallels in our backgrounds and our process and our philosophy in life. And for those that just joined us or those in the future that are joining us, please stay engaged. The whole point is to start a conversation, reach out. If you want to have a conversation, let's make that happen. Also, if you want to increase in your connections, there's a lot of ways you can do that. I'm going to be, I was thinking last night, I'm going to start a workshop. I created 6 ways to develop and monetize your live stream. And because a lot of people ask me, they ask the question for you too, as well. I do it for a different reason. Some people may want to do it to grow their business. Mm-hmm. So I created this thing. So I'm going to start workshops. I'm going to do these workshops and because I'm booking in April, and so I have a booking process that works for me, and I can share that and a few of these things that will add value to your world. And adding value and returning value back to the community is the best way to grow your business, in my opinion.
Yes.
So I'll continue to share that and expand the brand. So, Bob, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And I love getting the message out. And if anybody wants to be on Coffee with Bob, I am very open to it. Check out my LinkedIn profile. I have a calendar link on there. Book a time and let's do it. I'm happy to help.
I'll have to join you.
Yeah, I wish you would. That would be great. I think I've reached out to you a couple times asking you to be on, and you haven't yet. So, but I know you're busy.
I'll do that today. I'll go out and book a time just while it's fresh on my mind. I'm a little squirrel, Bob. I can't lie.
Well, you're much busier than I am, so I get it.
No worries. And everyone, why you're here, because kindness is cool. Smiles are free. And I want you to enjoy your day.
Awesome.
Till next time. Don't go away, Bob.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining the Pirate Broadcast. If you found this content valuable, please like, comment, and share it across your social media channels. I would love the opportunity to help others grow in their business. The Pirate Syndicate is a platform where you show up, we produce the show. It's that easy. If you want to be seen, be heard, and be talked about,